It was Christmas Eve 1945. The Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia, should have been filled with the joy of the season. Instead, it became a scene of unimaginable horror. A fire, swift and merciless, engulfed the two-story house. George and Jennie Sodder managed to escape with 4 of their children, but 5 others, Joe, Sylvia, Francis, Morris, and Martha, were never seen again. The fire started late, around midnight. Jennie was awakened by a strange sound, a thud, like something hitting the roof, followed by the ringing of a phone. When she answered, a voice on the other end asked for someone she didn't know. Then, silence. She went back to sleep, only to be awakened again, this time, by the smell of smoke. The house was quickly becoming an inferno. George and Jennie, along with their children John, Marion, George Jr., and Jennie Jr., managed to escape the flames. They frantically called for the other 5, their voices lost in the roar of the fire, but there was no answer. Panic set in. Where were the 5 missing children? George frantically tried to reach them, but the fire was too intense. He tried driving his truck closer to the house, hoping to climb up to the 2nd floor, but it wouldn't start. He searched for a ladder, but the ladders, usually kept propped against the house, were gone. As dawn broke and the fire died down, the Sodders clung to the hope that their children had somehow escaped. But as they searched the ashes, a chilling realization dawned. There were no bodies. Nothing. It was as if the children had vanished into thin air. The lack of remains fueled a whirlwind of questions and theories. Had the children somehow survived the fire and fled, or had something more sinister occurred? The mystery of the missing Sodder children had begun. The authorities initially treated the fire as a tragic accident, assuming the missing children had perished in the blaze. However, the lack of any skeletal remains, even after extensive searching, cast doubt on this conclusion. The heat of the fire, while intense, should not have been enough to completely incinerate 5 bodies. Where were the bones? As days turned into weeks, the Sodder family grew increasingly convinced that their children had not died in the fire. They began to suspect foul play, clinging to the belief that the children had been kidnapped. The strange phone call Jennie received on the night of the fire, the missing ladders, the truck that wouldn't start, these details, once insignificant, now loomed large in their minds. Something was wrong. Their children were gone, and someone knew something. The official investigation into the fire was frustratingly inadequate. The fire chief quickly ruled the cause as faulty wiring, but the Sodders and many in the community questioned this conclusion. The investigation seemed rushed, and key pieces of evidence were overlooked or dismissed. The Sodders, desperate for answers, began their own investigation. They hired private detectives and offered rewards for information. They placed billboards along highways, their children's faces staring out at passing motorists. They wrote countless letters, seeking help from anyone who might have information. Years passed, but the Sodders never gave up hope, their determination fueled by an unshakable belief that their children were still alive. Section 5. Whispers and Rumors. As the years passed, the mystery of the missing Sodder children took root in the public imagination. Theories abounded, some plausible, others bordering on the bizarre. The small town of Fayetteville, once a peaceful community, buzzed with whispers and rumors. Some whispered that the children had been kidnapped by a traveling circus that had passed through town earlier that month. Others speculated that they were taken by members of the Italian mafia, seeking revenge against George, a vocal critic of Mussolini's regime. Still, others pointed to the strange phone call Jennie received on the night of the fire, convinced it was a warning or a clue from the kidnappers. One of the most persistent theories centered around a group of men who had been seen in the area around the time of the fire. Witnesses described seeing a car with out-of-state plates parked near the Sodder home on Christmas Eve. Some recalled seeing men watching the children play in the days leading up to the fire. Another theory suggested that the children had been taken to South America, possibly by someone George had done business with in the past. This theory gained traction when a woman came forward claiming that her brother had confessed to being involved in the children's disappearance, and that they were living on an island off the coast of South America. In the late 1960s, the Sodders received a tantalizing piece of potential evidence. A photograph arrived in the mail, purportedly showing their son, Louis, as a young man. The photo, sent from an unknown location, showed a striking resemblance to Louis, particularly around the eyes. The Sodders clung to this glimmer of hope, hiring a private investigator to track down the sender of the photo. However, the trail ran cold, and the identity of the young man in the photo remains a mystery to this day. Despite decades of searching, the fate of the Sodder children remains unknown. The case, officially closed in the 1950s, was briefly reopened in the late 1960s following the lead from the photograph, but no new evidence surfaced. The Sodder parents, George and Jennie, both passed away without ever knowing what happened to their children. Their surviving children have continued to keep their siblings' memory alive, determined to find answers and bring closure to this haunting family mystery. The disappearance of the Sodder children continues to fascinate and haunt, serving as a chilling reminder of the mysteries that endure. The case has been the subject of numerous books, documentaries, and podcasts, each attempting to unravel the truth behind that fateful Christmas Eve. The Sodder children have never been forgotten. Their story serves as a poignant reminder of the enduring power of hope and the unwavering love of a family determined to find their missing loved ones, no matter the odds. The case remains unsolved, but the search for answers continues, fueled by the belief that someday, somehow, the truth will be revealed.